Okay, so I got my print head here. With the purchase of the machine, you should have one of these buckets, hopefully looking a little less dirty. You're also going to have your solvent and a little wash bottle. You fill your wash bottle with your solvent. You'll have your tray here, and then you'll have your print head. First step, we're just going to go into head maintenance. We're going to go cleaning the head. You can see here it says daily inspection procedure. This is something you should be doing every day at the completion of every day's worth of work. I'm just going to click procedure here. It's going to show us where to go and what to do. You can see the first thing it does is actually stops the ink from running and circulating through the machine. And you can see that I've even got the tub here. I've just got this little nail grip here. I'm just going to spin this. You just see that pop out there. Now it's actually going to allow me to slide off this entire head. I've got my sensor just attached here, so I'll just pull that off. Pro tip with these sensors, the surface of this is actually plastic. Do not let the solvent get on it because it will get cloudy and it will mean that the photoelectric sensor is no longer going to have good vision. It's a quick way to break a sensor, and these are a couple $100 each, so always a good idea to get that out of the way. Now I'm just going to slide this whole head off. I can just put this off to the side because unless I have ink inside of here, which I might want to clean out, I won't be requiring any use of this. Now, we can actually take a good look here inside of our print head. It's actually very clean here. What you'll look for when you remove this is, especially around the end section here, can you see ink? And if you have this machine in operation and someone just pulls the power out, or if the head becomes unaligned or there's an issue, you'll always see trace elements of ink around here. In some cases, it'll be ultra clean like mine. In other cases, there's going to be a lot of ink in here. If there's any ink in here, you have to clean the print head. So that's why I have my solvent. That's why I have this tray, because I'm literally just going to gently soak the top of this, and then I'm just going to wait and let it cool off, and I'm going to get rid of all of my ink to ensure I have this ultra clear head here. So we can see here, it's just telling me to pull off this print head as we've done. It's telling you try to put it on the back of your electricals here if you can. Everything's solvent proof, so you don't need to be too concerned, but it is good practice to avoid it. However, in saying that, if you've been printing and this entire area is coated with ink, then you're going to have to put some solvent on there to get it off. You can see here, open the gutter. And I've got this little thing here. And it's quite cool. We can actually watch what makes the KGK system so unique. Our gutter is actually this part here. And what happens is the machine is actually going to put this head all the way out the end. And it's actually going to eject ink across this gap here. And what happens when we're actually in operation is the electrodes get a signal and it applies a certain amount of voltage to the ink droplets as they fly through the air to create that message. All other machines, this doesn't open and close, it just remains open at all times, which virtually means every time the machine turns off, you get a trail of ink left around here and it won't be as clean. It also means you use a lot more solvent when the machine isn't in operation. And it also means that the ink and the system is much more prone to drying out, coagulating, and becoming problematic. So here it says open the gutter, so I'm just going to click this up on the screen. We can actually watch this come out now. It says clean with care, the main section zoomed in, and I've got the tip here and the back here. So again, I don't have a lot of ink here, but what I would be doing is just ensuring that this section here, which is our orifice plate, I'm just going to liberally apply, and you can still see a little bit, there's just a tiny little bit of ink coming through there. I want to ensure that I don't have any ink. I want to ensure that in between these two electrode plates, I can see that green light coming through. I want to ensure that this whole section along here is completely clear. I want to ensure that the gutter itself remains ink-free, so to speak. So this whole section, more than happy to completely liberally coat this with solvent. Going a little bit over the top here just because, but you might end up doing this for a few minutes, and if someone does pull the power out of this machine mid-cycle, then you will be stuck here for more than a couple of minutes doing this. I'm just going to liberally do this until the solvent runs clear. You can see right now the solvent's going on here, but it doesn't seem to be leaving, or it doesn't seem to be pulling off any residual ink with it. Once I've gotten to that stage, I'm in a pretty comfortable area. I'm going to close the gutter. I'm going to jump to the next menu. In your kit, there's a little hand pump. Use this just to dry off any of the residual solvent. You can also just let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. The makeup fluid is similar to alcohol. It will evaporate incredibly quickly. What you do not want to do is put your cover back on before it dries, because you're going to get an error. It will say that the print head might be dirty, but what's actually detecting is the residual solvent that's left on here that didn't dry before you put that head back on. I jumped through. It actually says to do it with a dry arm. I personally wouldn't recommend this. I just let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes. If you've got some compressed air, you can very gently blow that over the top, but there are delicate parts here, so you do want to be careful. You can see here, finish maintenance, make sure everything's back normal. That is an operation that you should complete at the end of every day. We just call that cleaning the print head. Anytime if you see ink over this gutter or the orifice plate, or there's any part of the section inside of here, I'd strongly recommend you clear it off. You need to do this anytime you see it. This is part of just your standard operation. You need to get familiar and comfortable with doing this. Make sure you wear gloves. Make sure you have safety glasses on. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.